If you want to grow from 6 to 7 figures, there are a couple of secrets, and that's why I've been hosting the Millionaire Content Secrets for this past month. And last week, I was at a retreat with my clients who have been nailing one of the 2 missing content pieces of their businesses in order to hit 1 million and more. And on the other hand, for quite a lot of my clients who enter my Millionaire Mastermind, there's a really big content piece missing as well. Now, you might fall into category 1, who has one of them down, one not, maybe the second category, or maybe you fall into a category where you are missing both of these content pieces. And I see this with many of the clients who start working with me. They enter my online business club. They start seeing that their launches aren't performing the way they want them to. They start seeing a lot less reactions from their audience compared to, let's say, 2020, 2021, until they start realizing that their content plan is basically flawed because they are missing 2 really big content pieces that could actually help them not just grow to 6 figures, but grow to 7 figures and beyond. So in this episode, I'm going to give you some insights into the 2 missing content pieces your business needs to hit $1 million year. Hello, and welcome to Fail to Win, a show where we love to make mistakes and learn from them so you can turn your passion into profits and live life on your own terms. I'm Amy van der Putten from FastForwardAmy, your host and coach, and I'll bring you a new episode with simple strategies every Tuesday. Before we dive into this, I've been creating this as a series for this past month, and if you haven't listened to the past couple of episodes, I do recommend you go and do that first before you go here, because I'm going to be using a couple of terms and things that you won't understand, for example, if you haven't listened to last week's episodes. First, I want to say, I just got a sale in. That's so fun. I did a webinar today. I just got a notification. My 8th sale of the day. I just love webinars. That's 8th sale. That's an 8K sales day. That's fun. Yeah. Normally I turn off my phone when I'm recording, but whatever. So basically, what I'm going to say here is really important. Also, if you've missed the August series with the 6-figure secrets, important that you go and check that out, because basically what I want to say is that growing to 6 figures versus growing to 7 figures requires different things in terms of your content. If you want to grow to 7 figures, you can get there with 2 types of content. No, if you want to grow to 6 figures, sorry, I don't know what I said, but if you want to grow to 6 figures, you can get away with 2 types of content. If you want to grow to 7 figures, you need 3 types of content or focus extra hard on one top type of content. So basically, what any business needs, which is not the focus of this episode, is sales content. Without sales content, you can't convert your audience into buyers. This is, by the way, also one of the reasons why a lot of personal brands or influencers are able to build up a big following, but they aren't actually making money because they simply don't have any sales content. But because you're here, I'm assuming you already have sales content. You already kind of know how to sell, but you're currently stuck at, I don't know, maybe 50K a year, 100K a year, and you can't seem to grow past that. So the first thing I would say, if you are stuck and your pipeline is empty, you're not attracting new leads, is that you go and listen to last week's episode, because there I talk about how you need content that is really strong and is continuously attracting new potential clients. It's what we call top of funnel content, what we call outer circle content, content that gets you eyeballs. Doesn't matter, just content that gets you out there. Obviously, you can do this by creating TikToks, Reels, all of that stuff, but you would also attract new audience by getting good at SEO or by doing collaborations. You just want new people in your audience. But let's assume you're already at 6 figures. You're doing 100K and you are pretty good with your sales content. You're also attracting some new people. But the new people you're attracting aren't necessarily converting to buying from you. Why is that? This is the second big missing content piece you need in order to hit your first $1 million year. Most businesses, personal brands, whatever, need this. So the first part that you need for 6 and 7 figures was the outer circle content. I talked about that last week. We just talked about it. This is just the content that is attracting new people. But what if there's new people and they're not converting? Well, this is the really big shift that I see with almost all of the clients who enter my Millionaire Mastermind and who want to grow to a million and more, the piece that is missing is nurture content. This is content like a podcast, for example, where you're listening to someone's voice for, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes. You build up a lot of trust. This is where people who walk in and are like, yeah, I might be interested in what this person has to offer. And they become really big fans because they start feeling like they really know you. They trust you. They have the same values as you. And they start realizing they actually want to maybe buy from you in the future. And they don't feel nervous about doing that because they feel like they already know you and they know that it would be a really good decision to buy from you. For me, I started creating nurture content, first in the form of really long stories. So if you make longer videos or really long talking stories, that could be considered as nurture content. The downside of stories is just that they don't live for a really long time. So you put a lot of effort into something that disappears 24 hours later. So what happened to me is in 2019, I decided that on top of my business coaching business, I really wanted something where I wasn't working in the business, where I wasn't working with clients or doing stuff strategically. I just wanted to have a creative outlet. And I really like talking, as you might be able to hear. And I decided, okay, what I would really love is to be able to have a podcast and to just talk about new topics, business topics, mindset, marketing every week, and just see who resonates with it. And I was one of the first bigger names in Belgium in the business industry, business coaching industry who did it. And in the beginning, no one understood what I was doing. And people didn't get that I was giving away so much for free. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it because, it might just be the thing that, lights me up, gives me some joy in the creative part of my business. And what I didn't expect to happen is that is actually one of the things that really catapulted my business to my first $1 million plus year. And I've hit that million plus consistently over the past couple of years since that year. And I haven't just created this one podcast because it's this podcast that I started back then, but I've added 3 more podcasts even. I co-own one in my second business with my business partner, Jessica. I have one where my dad is actually the face of the brand, but we co-own the Business Dad brand. And I have a second Dutch podcast that I created in February that has been doing amazingly and that has gotten me so many clients. Why is podcasting or going live or longer form videos or newsletter content so important? When you start following someone, you follow them or someone forwards you something from them and you're like, oh yeah, this might seem fun, or you see a video on Explore. It will probably take you a couple of times before you think, okay, I'm actually going to follow this person, because you probably already follow quite a few people. And then you're just like basically a little bit interested in that person, right? But then there comes a moment where you think, I really like this brand. I really resonate with this person. I really agree with them. And it's probably because you got to know more about what makes them tick, what values they have. Basically, you got to know more about their brand and you started feeling like that really, really resonated with you. But have you ever, for example, started following someone or heard someone on a podcast as a guest on a podcast you listen to, where you're like, holy shit, this person is right up my alley. I really resonate with them. They're amazing. And you start following them. And basically from the get-go, you love them. You're just like, I'm obsessed. I love this person. For me, one of those people is Ilona Mar. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She won Olympic bronze gold in the last Olympics for the USA rugby team. And I started following her account before she was at 1 million followers. Right now, she's almost at 4 million followers. And I binged her feed. She had so many good little videos that made her her. It was really clear what she stood for, what her values were. I thought she was hilarious. I loved the way she was practicing body positivity and talking about, ups and downs. And I've watched her videos where she's talking and I'm like, oh, if she has longer form content, I will binge it. And I'm already basically in love with her brand because of what she stands for. Now, she managed to do that with a lot of small pieces of content. If she had a podcast, I would probably listen to it every week. And if I would have heard her speak on someone's podcast, I would have fallen in love with her immediately. Not literally, by the way, I am in love with my boyfriend, but girl crush. I have a girl crush on her. I hope someone at some point forwards this to her. So what is missing in many people's business is that fall in love factor. And the fall in love factor in your content usually tends to happen when you are really yourself. And that often doesn't happen in really short form content or in really styled content or in just snippets of content. It usually happens in 20 to 30 minutes of content when people can sit down with you for longer. It's like when you just greet someone passing by or you sit down with someone and have a meal, the trust is going to increase. So this is what we call the nurturing content. You can do this by creating a weekly or a monthly, but I would recommend a weekly newsletter for people. You can do this by going live once a week and interacting with them. You can do this by creating a podcast. You want people to really get to know you so that they have a really good basic understanding of who you are, what you stand for, so that by the time you sell something, they already trust you enough to buy from you. And this is what is missing in most people's businesses. A lot of my clients who, for example, they follow coaching for a while, then they graduate, and then after a while they come back and they're like, hey, what I'm doing or what I used to do isn't working anymore. I usually go and have a look at their content. I'm like, yeah, you're not talking to new people. First mistake. That's what I explained in last week's episode. And then the second really big missing piece of content is the nurturing content. And for most people, if you want to grow from 6 to 7 figures, I would recommend a podcast because it allows you the space to turn your baseline following into really big raving fans and like very loyal listeners. So if you are currently at 6 figures, you want to grow to 7 figures, consider something longer form. And if you are afraid of the cost, a podcast doesn't have to be expensive. I'm just sitting here at my desk recording this solo. I edit this solo. This is not a big deal. I have been doing this for a couple of years, so I have the habits, but you can also start by simply going live, double recording it with like a different microphone so that you have good audio quality, then turning that into a podcast. I think it really depends on how you approach it. A lot of people want to get a really fancy camera guy and fancy edits and stuff. I personally don't really edit a lot out of it. I'm all for perfectly imperfect. It's just the way I am. You do you. But I will say every week you're not hosting a podcast is a week you're missing out. Side note, if you're not hitting, 50K a year, 100K a year yet, you don't necessarily need a podcast. If you have limited time and you have to choose between creating stronger, what I call outer circle content, so let's say reels and stuff to attract new people versus creating a podcast, I do recommend you go for the first option because that will convert the bottom line at a higher percentage and it will attract new people. And having a podcast but no new following isn't going to help you either because then you're just recording a podcast every week and talking to the same people. So you do always have to prioritize the new leads. I always look at it as this. I want to have my current clients be really happy and then I always have to go and find new people and then I'll push them through my funnel. But I'm also way better at being consistent with my podcast and my newsletter. I do that already. My challenge is always creating the content for new people. So I'm actually going to be challenging myself to do that in October. So if you are listening to this in October, come and have a look at my profile. I've been traveling. I've been doing lots of stuff and there should be quite some content online from me. And this is me also committing doing that. Now, maybe you were listening and like, Amy, this is all a load of crap. None of this works for me. Don't shoot it or don't hate it until you've tried it. But of course, I will add, I'm saying all of this, assuming you have a converting offer people want. If you don't have an offer people want, go back and start there because, well, obviously, if you're selling shit, then no content can help you. Well, I mean, it will help you, but not for the long run. If you've been listening to this, or maybe on my Instagram, you've been seeing me host my retreat for my Self-Made Millionaire Mastermind, you're interested, but you kind of want to know more about this and want to know more about the methods and how I work and how I help people reach that 1 million+ year, I had a one-on-one session with a client a while back where I outlined the million method to her. I showed it and I was so excited after that session. It gave me so much energy because she came to me and she was like, I want to see my kids more. I don't want to work evenings anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I want to make more and scale online and scale back to offline. And I outlined the million method and it blew her mind. And it was so valuable that after she left, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put this in a digital training. I need everyone to know this because I believe sometimes we just don't know what we should be focused on. And maybe for you, in the past couple of episodes, you already had a couple of things that you're like, oh yeah, I need to do that more, but you want to see it all in one mind map. I created a 30-minute training for you. It's my million method training. If you simply go to my Instagram account, FastForwardAmy, and you DM me the word method, I'm going to send you my million method training completely for free. If you look at it and then you realize, okay, Amy, is hey Amy. I am that 6-figure business owner who wants to grow online to 7 figures, and you feel like you resonate with my content, my teachings. You can just DM me the word millionaire if you want to see if you're fit for one of the last spots in my mastermind, because I only allow a couple of people every few months to enter the mastermind because I spend a lot of one-on-one time on my clients. I review all of their stuff. They can access me and send me messages every day. I do one-on-one calls with them, group calls. We have the retreats. It's quite intensive, which is also why it's a really small group. So if you're at multiple 6 figures, you're making money online, you're selling courses or coaching programs, all of that, and you want to see if you can scale to 1 million this year with me, simply DM me the word millionaire and let's chat to see if you're fit, okay? Have a really nice evening and don't forget to go and download that million method training. I'll add the link to this episode as well in the description so you can go and watch that training. Bye. You want to make money on Instagram, but you're not exactly sure what you actually need in order to make that happen. Chances are you're creating content and you're trying different things, but it seems to not really click together and you're wondering why those other people are getting in all of those sales, but you aren't. Well, in reality, even if you're only selling for 30 euros every day, that's an extra 1,000 a month if you can make it work. But so many people actually can't because they don't see the full picture and they are missing one key element. That's why I've made the Instagram income map for my clients, which is a PDF workbook that you can go through in 1 hour. You'll discover the 8 building blocks that determine whether you just attract clients on Instagram or just talk about sales, or that you can actually go from attracting clients to getting in sales every single day. And I want that for you. So you can go and grab the workbook now, available for only 27 euros for a limited time. Go to fastforwardamy.com/income map and I'll send it over to you instantly, or click the link in the description of this episode.